we have a team that is involved in engaging stakeholders such as yourself in media, non-profits, academia, in government, and so on and so forth. So one of our key markets here in Africa is Kenya, and we like to meet our key stakeholders such as presidents and ministers and regulators and MPs even to talk about who we are, what we do, how the platform works, because we realize we are still very new as a platform. There's quite a lot that we need to do in terms of educating people about how the platform works and how we can also collaborate with governments. It's understandable that Kenyans may feel that they are seeing content on the platform which doesn't reflect their values. But when it comes to the second issue that you raise about moderation, that's not accurate. We actually do moderate the content. Oh, come on, man, come on. We've got a team of moderators, globally 40,000, that actually moderate the content. And the moderation is based on our community guidelines. So our community guidelines look at, it's a code of conduct, really, that says what you can do on the platform and what you cannot do. So, for example, hate speech is not allowed on the platform. Violence, terrorism, violent extremism, and what we've seen in Kenya, adult sexual activities or solicitation and nudity, that's not allowed on the platform. But that said, in real life, as in technology, as in platforms that are user-generated, there could be leakages, right? There are some occasions where some bad content can escape our moderation systems. Then the issue then is, how do you correct that? What do you learn from it, and what do you plan to do for the future? And here we're not just talking about the sexual content that you're referring to. There could be bad speech, hate speech content that leaks through. There could be violent content that leaks through. But what we then do as a company is, as I said, is we learn from that and we improve our systems of moderation. The majority of the content that's moderated is actually machines. So through machine learning. So they literally, figuratively learn from that in order to be able to apply those rules to avoid those leakages. You'll notice that I say to avoid them. I didn't say to totally eradicate them, because the nature of UGC platforms is such that a human being can maybe upload something, maybe not out of knowledge, or maybe deliberately to want to mislead people, or and stuff like that. In the last quarter, our last report that we published, and it's there on our website, we took down 91 million pieces of content for violating our community guidelines. That's a lot that we've taken down. Globally, yes. That's a lot that we've taken down, and it's a significant number, right? But even more significant is the fact that that 91 million actually constitutes 0.6% of the total content that has been uploaded on TikTok in that period. So what am I saying here? I'm saying there's a lot of content on TikTok. Yes, the bad content is there, but as the last report showed, it's a few bad apples. And by saying that, I'm not saying let's ignore the bad apples, because our job is about cleaning up the platform on a daily basis. Our own mission is to inspire creativity and bring joy. Internally, our CEO always talks about us being the most trusted brand in the next 3 to 5 years. You've heard there's a lot of talk about next billion users, going online, and majority of the next billion users are going to come from markets such as Kenya, markets such as Africa. This is where people are now coming online. They're having phones that they can now use to view video content. They have airtime, all of those things. So as the market itself, as economies themselves grow and develop, you're going to start seeing a huge uptake of some of these services. So not to answer you straight, I know you've accused me of that before.
I didn't.
We're still growing. Somebody else. We're still growing in SSA, in the rest of Africa. We're focusing on South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria. That's where we see a lot of, creativity coming from. So this is, for now, this is a keyword, our main focus. This is not to say that we're not present in the other countries, or we're not providing services in other countries. But in terms of, it's the golden triangle, right, of Lagos, Nairobi, and Johannesburg. This is where we are. In North Africa as well, we have some form of presence in Morocco as well as in Cairo, Egypt. We've got larger teams that look at how we can grow our user base. We've got many teams that also are educating people how to use TikTok effectively, whether for business or to grow your brand. We've got many teams that are also supporting creators, the creator community. So we have this program called the African Creator Content Hub, which we launched here in Nairobi actually about 3-4 months ago. It's a bootcamp where we take promising creators from here to there. So we give them tips on how they can grow their brand on TikTok, how they can produce content to engage or excite their users or followers. Such basic tips about how many times a day or a week should you be posting, what have you learned from other markets, and so on. So there's quite a lot of teams. We also have business development teams as well. We are a business, so we also trying to build business partnerships. There's media teams that work with publishers such as yourselves. There's my team, which looks at collaborations with government, especially in terms of getting rid of bad actors or bad content. Monetization, there seems to be a misunderstanding, or there is no one monetization model, so to speak. There are many ways in which those that are on TikTok can actually, have livelihoods, make money. So, for example, we are talking about maybe the monetization you're talking about may refer to saving ads on the platform. That we haven't turned on for Kenya, but in South Africa, for example, we have. And it's in the pipeline. The other one is brands partnering with users, right? We already see this happening in Kenya already and everywhere in Africa, where you are a publisher, this content is king. If you publish good quality content, people will come to you. So we've seen creators that are producing this very good quality content, and they are starting to have relationships with brands. This is why we're seeing the success stories happening. The Africa Content Creator Awards that we did in November last year, the winner was Kenya, Dennis Ombachi, I think. Yes. And it's him, his craft, his content that is winning this recognition. And who knows what sort of business partnerships he's tying up because of that exposure to TikTok. So definitely that. The other form is TikTok series, which actually turned on for Kenya about 2 months ago. So this allows you to put some content behind the paywall, so you can have people to subscribe to it. Gifting on live is also another way of making money, where you can have a creator, for example, a stand-up comedian, goes on live, people join in, and he creates some good jokes, and people give them a token. So they can maybe give you a token of a flower, and that flower is maybe 5 bob. You can actually convert that flower into real money. I know there's quite a lot of talk about TikTok is a singing and dancing app. It's a tag that we want to drop because we truly believe that that's not all that you find on TikTok. We're seeing a lot of emerging communities on TikTok. So, for example, book talk, fitness talk, movies talk, all of those, business talk, and so much coming up that we're seeing. We're seeing in Africa, obviously, sports, football is quite huge. Music is huge, obviously. Stand-up comedy is also huge, but also lifestyle. I like Dennis Ombachi. No, definitely. Why? Ask me. Ask me. Because I'm a struggling cook. I dabble in cooking myself. I follow a lot of, you see, my bookmarks and my favorited items are actually around recipes and golf as well, because I mentioned I'm a struggling golfer. I need to learn, but it's a lot of food, not just many cuisines. So Dennis Ombachi was a natural. So for me, is one of the big ones. I have a time limit of 30 minutes per day, and I encourage people to do that. I think, look, we pride ourselves at TikTok for being one of the industry first platforms to actually tell people don't stay on the app too long. Use it, but don't be hooked. My kids, they are not on TikTok, and Anyone who's got kids that are under 13, they should not be on TikTok, because TikTok is a 13 plus app, because they might come across content that is not suitable for them. So even those that are between 13 and 18, they are still minors. They access a different TikTok, a TikTok where you cannot download their videos, where they are not discoverable. You cannot search for their names or their handle and find them. You cannot DM them and all of that. And on top of that layer, we've got what we call family pairing. It's a feature within TikTok itself that allows, maybe if you're a parent or a guardian, to monitor your minor's usage of TikTok. So you can set the screen limits that you mentioned. You can vet, blacklist, whitelist the creators that they view. You can decide who friends them or does not friend them. So there's quite a lot of resources. I think we need to communicate a bit more. We need to make a big splash about all of this so that everyone knows.